Hi everyone. In the last video, we have discussed application of pointers. In that concept, we have written a program to find out the maximum and minimum element in a given array using pointers. There, we have used an important mechanism that is called call by reference. In the main function, we have passed the addresses of max and minimum variable to the function definition. In the function definition, we have used the concept of the pointers. Their max and min variables are acted as pointers, and by using those pointers, we have calculated the max and minimum. After calculating the max and minimum, those changes are automatically reflected the max and minimum variables of the main. That is the great advantage of using pointers. And also we can say finding the max and minimum using pointers is the best application of pointers. In today's session, we are going to talk about the more details like returning pointers, pointer to an element of array of pointers, and pointer to an entire array. And what do you mean by the pointer to a function, or we can say function pointers? We will see one by one in detail. Let us discuss about returning pointers. How to return a pointer? Let us take an example array a integer a is equals to, and you give some elements 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 elements. See, if I ask how many number of elements are there in the array, directly we can say 5. Why? Because the elements we have given is in the order. If I have given 20 elements in the random order, then it is very difficult to count each and every element. There is another logic to find out the number of elements, or we can say the length of an array. How to find out that? See, the length can be given as size of operator, size of a by, you take size of the first element, I'm taking it as a of 0. See, the size of operator gives the amount of memory allocated in bytes. How many elements are there in the array A? The amount of memory allocated is 5 into the number of bytes an integer is going to take. That means it is given as 5 into 4 if an integer takes 4 bytes of memory by a of 0 means single location we are taking, it is 4 bytes. That is in the sense 20 by 4. 20 by 4, how much? 5. We are getting 5. The number of elements are 5. We got 5. See, in case of 6 elements, then we are going to get 6 into 4, 24 by 4. We are going to get 6. This is the way of finding the length of an array. In our example, the number of elements are 5. Now, how to find out the mid? The mid element we are going to find as 5 by 2, n by 2, or length by 2, we can say length by 2, 5 by 2. 5 by 2, how much? It takes only the integer part 2. It's not going to take the real value. It's not 2.5. It is only 2. Why? Because this is an integer division. Now, assume that we want to return the address of mid element. What do you mean by the address of mid element? This is the memory representation of the array. How many elements? 5. 5 elements, and you know address, assume that 100, and this is 104, 108, this is 112 and 116. And the elements we have given is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the first element is a of 0, and this is a of 1, a of 2, a of 3, a of 4. Now, we are going to return the address of a of 2. Means just we are going to say, we are going to use the sentence that statement return ampersand of, what do you say, a of n by 2. A of n by 2. Return ampersand of a of n by 2. N by 2, we said this is ampersand of a of 2. We got ampersand of a of 2. How much? 108. we are returning 108 from the function. Assume that we have taken some function and this function returns 108. So that's why before this function we have to write the return type as pointer. This is about returning a pointer. After returning a pointer, next we are going to discuss an important thing, that assume that we have an array integer of no dimension here we are mentioning, and you take some elements 1, 2, 3, 4. And here we are taking integer star p equals to a. What is the meaning of this? Here the meaning is p is a pointer to an array a. Pointer to an array a means whether it is a pointer to the first element or the entire array. That is very, very important. It seems to be very simple, but things are very critical to understand. The elements are 1, 2, 3, 4. Addresses, anything you can take. Here again, I'm taking similar addresses. P equals to star of P equals to A. That means P is a variable which consists of 100, and this is pointer. And you know this is the array name A. Now, the thing you have to understand carefully is the pointer P is the pointer to the first element or entire array? That is carefully you understand. We think that the P is the pointer to an entire array. That is wrong. Here the P is the pointer to the first element, that's all. P is the pointer to the first element. For example, I'm drawing like this. I'm taking the entire array like this. And assume that we are treating the entire array as a location, single location, and address is here 100. If P consists of the address 100 like this, then we have to say that P is a pointer to an entire array. That is very, very important. It is an array. In this case, we call it as P is a pointer to an array of how many integers here? 4 integers. That is very important. Now, I want to differentiate one thing, that whenever we say integer star P equals to A, please note a point that P is a pointer to only the address of the first element of an array. That's all. Don't say that P is a pointer to an entire array. Now, how to declare a pointer to an entire array? See, for that, what you do is, if I write integer star of P, and if you take some elements like this, what is the meaning of this? I'm going to the next slide. For example, integer star ptr, if I say 5, what does it mean? Is it a pointer to an array of 5 elements? No. See, the important thing here you have to understand here is there are two important operands we have here. One is star, another one is square brackets. Here, precedence comes into the picture. What do you mean by the precedence? When we have the operators star and square brackets, the first preference is given to square brackets. Okay, that means you take PTR is an array. Don't treat that PTR is a pointer. First, you give the preference to the square brackets. What do you mean by the precedence? Precedence refers to the concept called associativity. See, the associativity mainly determines the order in which the operators or operands are evaluated. Whenever we have square brackets and star, square brackets are having higher precedence than star. Then, when you take these square brackets into consideration, we have to read it as PTR is an array of pointers, array of pointers, array of, what do you say? Pointers of type integers. That is in the sense you take an array. This is an array. Array of how many? 5. You write 5. This is, we call it as PTR of 0. This is PTR of 1, PTR of 2, and this PTR of 3. How much? What is the dimension? PTR 5, PTR of 4. PTR is an array of 5 pointers of type integer. Means it is a pointer to integer. It is also a pointer to an integer. This is also a pointer to an integer. All are pointers to integers. This is the meaning of this. It's not a pointer to an array. If star is having more precedence, you have to read it as PTR is a pointer to an array of 5 elements. That is the case. But square brackets are given higher precedence. For that, what you do is pointer PTR is an array of 5 integers which are pointers. That is the main important thing. If I write the same like this, integer star PTR in parentheses, and next if you write 5, the meaning is different. Here the meaning is, first you evaluate parentheses. Why? Because parentheses are given higher precedence than square brackets. Now PTR is a pointer to an array of how many elements? 5 elements. That's the logic. It is a pointer to not only one element, it is a pointer to 5 elements. Assume that this is an array 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 elements. And now you take PTR, it is a pointer of an array of 5 elements of type integer. Means it is the array, right? It is an pointer to this entire array. If we write only like this, it is a pointer to the first integer. No, it is an array, it is a pointer to an entire array. Assume that the address 100, 104, 198, 112, 116. Then we are treating this array as a whole, and whose address is 100, and this is stored in this PTR. Now, if we write star of PTR, then star of PTR how much? 100. Then we are moving from outer 100 into inner 100. Okay, here we are going for again 100. See, what I want to say is, whenever we say star PTR, it is star 100, means again we are getting 100. But if you want to refer to the first element, you write again one star. That means to refer to the first element 1, you write star PTR. That is very, very important. Star PTR, we are getting 1. Star PTR plus 1, we are getting 2. Plus 2, 3. This is the way of accessing the elements by using a pointer to an array of 5 integers. This is different and this is different. And when you say star PTR equals to A, this is the pointer to only the first element. That is the distinction or differentiation of various pointers. After that, we are going to use the important concept called function pointers. I will give the overview. Next, we will see the programming part. Function pointer. What is meant by a function pointer? Let us take a function here, integer. Some function we are taking add, which is taking 2 parameters, integer a, integer b. Right? It is saying that return a plus b and closing brace. How many statements are there here? 4 statements. Where the function is going to store again in the memory, and take a memory. Now here, how many instructions are there? Assume that this is the first instruction. We call it as instruction 1, and this is instruction 2, and this is third instruction, instruction 3. Last one is instruction 4. Means all these 4 instructions are stored in the memory, right? Every location, every instruction is having its own address. Assume that this is the starting address. So next it is having its own address, right? This is the starting address. The starting address mainly refers to the first instruction. That means the name of the function. Okay. Now, how we can invoke this function? By using pointers. For this, what you have to do is take a pointer, you declare a pointer. For example, here I'm writing star ptr. It is a pointer, okay, pointer. See, it is a pointer to what type of function, what is the return type of add, integer. Before this, you write integer, right? Here we are declaring the pointer variable. Before this, we are mentioning the return type of the function. Now, it is a pointer to whom function. Function is referred as parenthesis. Okay, parenthesis we are talking about is function. See how many parameters are there in the function. Formal parameters, two parameters. What is the prototype here? First is integer and second is also integer, and you write semicolon. This is the way of declaring a function pointer or pointer to a function. But the important thing here you have to remember is here the name of the function is optional. See, at the time of discussing functions, I said that in function declaration or in function prototype, while declaring the data type, I said that the name of the variables is not necessary. Only the type is important. Here also the name of the function is not important. Just we are mentioning the return type as well as the type of the arguments it is going to take. This is the way to declare a function pointer. Now, in the next line, what we are going to do? We are going to assign ptr equals to, what is the name of the function here? Add. We can pause address like this, ampersand of add. Just you mention the name of the function add. Before this, you write ampersand, ptr equals to ampersand add. When we say ptr equals to ampersand add, see, this whole treated as a single block and whose base address is given as 4000. This is the add function, right? What is the address of? So what is add here? Add means 4000. Ampersand add means again 4000. So ptr equals to, the address here is 4000. In 4000, we have again 4000. How to move from outer 4000 into inner 4000? For that, what we are going to do is to call the function add, which is stored at this memory location. We are going to say calling a function is done like this, star of, we are saying it as star of ptr, star of ptr, and we are going to pass some values like 10 and 20, star of ptr. This is the way of calling a function add. What is there in ptr? 4000. Star of 4000, again 4000, means we are going for the function here. Okay, and it is going to return some sum of a and b, means 30 it is going to return. To store this return value, we are using some variable result. This is the way of using function pointers and calling the functions. And another important thing you should remember here is, instead of saying ptr equals to ampersand add, you can also say ptr equals to only add. Here ampersand is not required. When you use ptr equals to add without using ampersand, then here the star is not required. So when you say ptr equals to add, then you call the function just by saying ptr of just 10 comma 20. Here star is not required. When there is an ampersand, star is required. When there is no ampersand, here there is no need to use star. So this is about an important concept, function pointers. More details we will see in the next class. With this, I'm going to close the session. Thank you for watching.